Let's talk about one of the most maddening parts of being in a relationship, having the same fight over and over again. Well, it turns out there's a really powerful communication tool inspired by, you guessed it, an ancient philosopher that can help us break that cycle and finally start understanding each other.
Oh, you know exactly which one I'm talking about, right? It's that same old fight about the dishes or planning a trip or what you're going to do this weekend. You feel like you're caught in this endless loop, saying the same things, getting nowhere, and just feeling more and more frustrated each time. But here's the twist. The argument isn't really about the dishes. That's just the what. The real problem, the real fight, is about the how. It's about the totally different ways you and your partner are picturing the task in your own minds. The conflict is happening in a place you can't even see. This leads us to this really interesting idea called visual bias. It's basically this quiet, unconscious assumption we all make that when we say something like, "Let's clean the kitchen," the little movie playing in our head is the exact same movie playing in our partner's head. But you know what? It almost never is. And that mismatch is a huge hidden source of so many of our fights.
So when this visual mismatch happens, what's our gut reaction? We argue, right? We try to prove our point. But as we're about to see, that approach just doesn't work because it's aimed at the wrong target.
Just look at the difference here. In a typical argument, our goal is pretty simple, to win, and our method is just making assertions. This is the right way to do it. But the Socratic approach, it flips that script entirely. The goal isn't winning, it's understanding. And the method isn't asserting, it's asking questions.
Okay, so let's shift gears from the problem to the solution. The whole idea is to stop being a lawyer in a courtroom trying to win a case and start being what we're going to call a Socratic spouse. Yep, named after Socrates, the guy who taught us that the real path to wisdom is through asking really good questions. So, what does this Socratic method actually look like for a couple? Now, listen, this is not about interrogating your partner or catching them in a lie. Think of it as a collaborative tool. It's about using genuine, insightful questions to gently uncover those hidden assumptions we all carry around, helping you finally see the problem through their eyes. And this, right here, this is the fundamental mindset shift. It's about moving away from your own ego and moving towards empathy. The second you stop needing to be right and you start genuinely wanting to see their perspective, that's when the whole conversation changes from a fight into a shared journey of discovery. Okay. So that's the why. It sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do this? How do we start asking these kinds of game-changing questions in the heat of the moment? It really boils down to 3 simple steps. First, just listen. I mean, really listen, not just waiting for your turn to talk. Listen for an assumption they're making. Second, instead of attacking that assumption, just get curious. Form a gentle, open-ended question about it. And third, this part is so important. Explore their answer together, like you're a team trying to solve a puzzle. I mean, you can just feel the difference, can't you? The first option, the assertion, it's like throwing up a brick wall. It just shuts everything down. But the second option, the curious question, that's like opening a door. It's an invitation. It says, hey, let me come over to your side and see what you're seeing. So here's the bottom line. When you gently ask about the why behind your partner's idea, you're doing so much more than just having a better conversation. You're actually building a bridge across that visual divide we talked about earlier. You're getting your 2 mental movies in sync. And that is where real connection and understanding happen. And that brings us to a final thought for you to take away. The next time you feel one of those familiar arguments starting, just pause for a second. And instead of jumping in with your own point, ask yourself, what's the unexamined assumption here? Maybe it's theirs, maybe it's mine. How can we explore it together? That one simple question might just change everything.